Good evening, ladies and gentlemen, and welcome to Serenity Gaming Wintersplit Division 1 match between Hydra and Sphinx. I'm Kaczka and I will be bringing you the games today with the Let's See Hyman.
Hey man, how you doing today?
I am doing great. Hopefully we'll have a very close series on our hands as Hydra and Sphinx. These two teams, they are both in Division 1, currently sitting in the middle of the table, and I for one hope that we will be seeing it taken to 3 games today.
Yeah, so let's just look at these teams a little bit. You know, we were talking about this before. Hydra, they're a really by-the-books team. They have their tank top lane, their active early ganking jungler, and things like that. Sphinx, they have a few things a little bit different. Their top laner seems to only play Sion and Urgot, from what we can tell. And that could be a problem, being banned out. Their jungler, Go Commit Jungle, plays a lot of Zac, which could be really interesting to see.
Could very well be. He has played a lot of Zac in both Wintersplit and the solo queue, and it is a champion that is good if you can play it. However, it is also a jungler that can be shut down in Mankholm. He likes to play those early aggressive junglers, and something like his Zinjawe, if it comes up, will make Zac's life pretty much a nightmare.
Yeah, Zac, he can't really do any dueling in the jungle. He can escape if he has his E up, but that's pretty much it, and that could be a real problem. I've been playing Zac a lot recently just in the solo queue, and I've been playing against Nunus and Shakos, and I have such a hard time until we hit about 30 minutes and I start getting some items like, you know, your Spirit Visage and whatnot. And the support for Sphinx is pretty interesting too. Looking at his queues and whatnot, he doesn't seem to play the same champion twice. He plays all sorts of stuff. You got your Morgana, your Alistar, your Rakan, Orange Shen, all down there in the bot lane. So you do not know what is going to come from Viga here. That's 2 Gs and 2 As. And that gives the ADC, Birdie, a lot of flexibility, you know, and Birdie does play a lot of very different champions. We see the Jinx, Xayah, and Lucian coming from him, so we have both early game and late game hyper carries.
Right, it's good that you mentioned Viga. Actually, he hasn't played the same champion twice in the Wintersplit. And, well, recently, with this patch, we have seen the crit AD carries slowly coming back together with maybe some Ardent supports or supports that mostly focus to play around their AD carry. So, well, who knows, you could be seeing just a 7th unique champion from Viga. And you also said that Birdie plays that Jinx and Xayah. It is also a pick that we could be looking as well as potentially Caitlyn for both of the AD carries. So the thing is I haven't really seen them played in solo queue, but I have definitely seen it being played more in all sorts of different leagues because of the mostly the Infinity Edge buff.
Yeah, so yeah, the Infinity Edge has been buffed. They got a up on the attack damage that it grants you from 70 to 80. You have your crit damage increases critical strike damage by 25%. All these things have been buffed on Infinity Edge, and also some things that have been causing marksman's issues have been nerfed. If we look, such as the new Akali nerfs, some really big ones. Your Q no longer heals, and the Twilight Shroud no longer stealths you from turret shots, which is absolutely huge. It makes it a lot harder for Akali to go under towers and take out ADCs when they think that they're safe. So this is an absolutely huge change coming from this new patch that came out Wednesday, I believe it was. So there are a lot of changes to keep in mind as we go through on this. And what else is there to talk about?
Well, one thing that is very important is the top lane changes, because you mentioned Akali getting nerfed. Irelia also has seen a drop in playability. I wouldn't exactly call those straight up nerfs, although some people claim they are, but what that means is that Urgot is a top S tier top laner. And you know, we already said that the top laner for Sphinx, Mpiker, who changed his name to Chase Me, please, and something with XD, let's just call him Chase Me, he does play a lot of that Urgot. It could be a high priority pick, and I would not be even surprised to see it banned throughout all the series.
Yeah, the Fear Beyond Death is an incredible ultimate for Urgot. It's great in team fights, and it's great for securing kills when you're solo laning up there. And the problem is, it seems like he only plays Silent and Urgot, as we mentioned before, and Braveheart does play a lot more champions in the top lane. He's got that Victor, Swain, Lissandra, Kennen, you know, all these different things. He even plays a little bit of Poppy. I'd love to see that. You know me, I love to see Poppy coming out. So definitely keep an eye on that top lane. It's going to be pretty interesting to see how it turns out, and a lot of that is going to be decided in the banning phase.
It will, and just a quick information, Sphinx actually will lose one ban due to an early substitution. So if you actually look at the roster, it will be Bjerre playing in the mid lane instead of their usual Lil Uzi Vert Jr. You gotta love the nickname, by the way. And Bjerre, he has played in the first half of the split on the old Hydra roster, which by the way has nothing to do with the current Hydra roster. And he has been a mage player. He has played a lot of Anivia and stuff like that, formerly also an Anivia main. So I'm really interested to see what Bjerre will be able to bring to the team, considering that he isn't really a full-time member.
Yeah, so oftentimes what we get with newer members is their communication may be a little bit lagging. They're just not used to how this team that they're playing with for the first time, or they just haven't played with very often, don't know how they play. So sometimes you're playing with an ADC and you just know that this ADC is going to take a lot of risks on your team, so you need to help them because chances are they're going to overextend a little bit. So that will be the thing that we're having to watch here. When you play some of these more control mages, like the Anivia or the Ryze or Lissandra, communication and teamwork is incredibly important, because those are mages that may not do a whole lot by themselves, but can set up their team incredibly well. You know, especially with stuff like the Ryze, takes way more communication to run than the standard mage. So you know, that's why we see it in more competitive environments than in solo queue, but there isn't a lot of evidence that he'll play Ryze. I'm just using that as an example.
Right, and you know, talking about these teams, they are both in Division 1 in a very similar spot. Currently sitting towards the middle slash bottom of the table, more of that just below the 5th place mark. Hydra are currently on 5 points and Sphinx on 3 points. So I am just points wise, you can really expect a close match. Division wise, they are also pretty even, and well, hopefully this will be a very, very close series overall.
Yeah, there was a little bit of an issue over on the side of Hydra. They can't seem to get a hold of one of their players. So, oh, no, never mind. He is here in the lobby. Never mind. I take it all back. So, crisis averted. We're playing the game. I love it. Unlike last time we casted together, but that is just how the cookie crumbles every once in a while. So, let's take a little bit of a detour talking about these individual players. Let's talk about their overall strategy. I haven't gotten to see Sphinx play at all, but I do know Hydra. Hydra, they play, like I said before, by the books. They just play what's meta, and they play it pretty well. So that works a lot of the time because you're able to just win off of your stats and whatnot, and you just learn those things and you can do well. But it doesn't always hold up against a team that is maybe a little bit more creative, can come up with a specific strategy to take you down. So we may see something like that come out from Sphinx, but if they do play just the same game, your standard meta game, then it really just comes down to which team can play it better, which is pretty interesting in its own right.
It is, and Sphinx, you just touched on it, they have a pretty similar playstyle to Hydra. One of the places where they are different is that, in my opinion, Frenzy is a much more aggressive AD carry player, which is a place to look forward to, because you could see Frenzy, he does like to play those later AD carries like the Vayne mostly or the Kai'Sa, but he also likes to play Lucian and Ezreal, and whereas Birdie has played that Lucian and Ezreal from time to time as well, he seems to be tending towards more of those late game carries, so that could be one of the places we see a difference. And just to give you guys an update, all teams are in the lobby, they just need to swap places, so in about a minute we should hopefully be going into the pro draft.
So yeah, it will be pretty interesting to see how this pro draft plays out, because like we were saying before, there are a lot of really strong players on very particular champions. So, if I was Sphinx, I'd be pretty careful here, because we got like a really good Anivia player, and we got a really good Sion and Urgot player, and you really have to be careful to make sure that you don't rely on singular heroes here, because if you end up having those taken away from you, either from the other team taking them or banning them, then it can really cause issues with how that really plays out, because if you solely rely on these things, then that is an easy counter to your team. So I think that Sphinx, they're going to have to watch it a little bit. Hopefully they've been practicing or scrimming or something so they don't solely rely on these champions.
Hopefully, and well, hopefully we'll also be going into the game fairly soon. What can we expect from the draft? Which of the champions you think are most likely to be banned? We talked slightly about the Urgot and as a potential ban, but what else could come out?
So the Sion as well. That's the two top laners for the side of Sphinx. Sion, Urgot. Wouldn't be surprised to see those taken away. The Anivia as well, because the mid laner for Sphinx does play a lot of Anivia, so I wouldn't be surprised to see that go. And then as far as ADCs, we've seen both teams play Lucian and Ezreal, so we may be seeing a ban come out of there. And if we see the Lucian ban, we're probably going to be seeing a Braum ban as well.
Right, that would make very much a lot of sense, and I believe that we are now going into the pro draft. Hydra, they are on the blue side, Sphinx, they're on the red side. Let's not forget that apparently Sphinx lose their first ban, as I have been informed, and the Zac ban coming straight away targeted against Go Commit.
Yeah, we did mention that earlier. Zac Go Commit does play a lot of Zac. It's a real shame to see him go away, because I do love watching Zac plays, just bouncing in there, so great. But yeah, so Sphinx is going to lose their first ban, or I guess it's going to be their last two then, because it seems to have banned Karthus.
I mean, they have two bans in the first half, as I have been informed by our admins. We don't know really. Karthus is
they
taken
only have
away.
two.
Yeah, they only have two, so they might just not ban one of them. Not entirely sure about that. We will not delve deeper into that. When it happens, it will. Tahm Kench now is removed from Hydra, and we talked how Vega plays many supports, but removing Tahm Kench in particular could signal some more aggressive strategies from Hydra.
Yeah, because Tahm Kench is really good at making sure that dives don't go well. because he's able to, if he manages to mark someone with his passive, he is able to eat them and spit them out somewhere where they might not want to be, such as under a tower, per se. And he's also able to protect the ADC in the exact same way. So he's really, really good against those offensive compositions. So if Hydra is banning him out, that means that chances are they're looking for a more aggressive composition. And because, like we said before, Sphinx's support player, Viga, plays a lot of everything. So you can't really specifically ban out one of his. So then the Camille coming from Sphinx and Xin Zhao coming from Hydra.
I really like the Xin Zhao ban because we said how Gokame jungle he plays mostly the Zac. One of his other champions he would fall back to is that Xin Zhao. He wants something to gank early on, so Hydra putting quite a lot of focus onto the champions of Gokame already early on into the draft. Does restrict that champion pool quite significantly.
I don't know why they appear to be banning Vlad here, because I thought they only had 2 bans. We'll figure that out.
It's up to admins to decide.
It's up, yeah.
Yeah, we're just casting the draft, and Hydra is locking themselves the first pick, Ergot. It doesn't go into the hands of Chase Me, please, but Ergot, a strong pick, doesn't matter who you are in it. It most likely does suit you.
So probably Sphinx is going to be picking up the Scion then to make sure that it doesn't get banned out in the second phase. And also the Lucian is being hovered there, and it is going to be picked a very, very good ADC pick. You can get some really good early leads. So we're probably going to be seeing a Braum to synergize with that. We may see something else, but that's chances are that's what we're going to see.
Nami is also pretty strong with Lucian, and even though I don't think she's like full back into the meta, we have started seeing more of those Ardent supports lately. We'll have to see what Sphinx decide to prioritize though. 3 seconds left, they will go for the Cassiopeia. The mage in the mid lane, the scaling, will be coming there in that form with the Lucian for the mid game, and Hydra, they just take the Braum straight away.
So it's interesting that Sphinx decided to prioritize the Cassiopeia over the Braum, and now Hydra have said, well, we're going to take that away from you. And they're keeping the theme of polar ice sort of thing going on with Sejuani.
Sejuani taken now for Hydra, a jungler most likely. We have seen it being just slightly moved around for Mangholm, though he did play it, and he has had good performances. Which I'm not surprised, and Sphinx just taking away the Ergot, as you talked about. It should be there for Chase Me, and he will just be happy Ergot.
So Cree367 in the chat mentioned the Zac ban, just target ban. He called Hydra insecure. That's those are big words coming out. So you know, we'll see how Hydra responds to that in turn. So Sphinx banning away the Ezreal, just trying to cut down on the pool of ADCs that Hydra plays, that Frenzy is really, really good on.
And Morgana is taken away by the side of Hydra, which I am not surprised about, because the Black Shield is so strong, and if you look at the amount of CC that Hydra are currently building, anything that can protect this Lucian is going to be a thorn in their side, so removing Morgana makes a lot of sense.
So they really are going to have to focus on damage dealers for their last 2 picks, because you know, they have all this CC, but they don't have a lot of damage so far. Really, the best damage they have is Ergot. So Sphinx, they didn't get a ban there, so I guess Split Admins have made their decision about what to do with that. And now Sphinx is lining up to pick their first champion of this picking phase, although they haven't quite done it yet. Probably going to be seeing a support. It's going to be the Pyke.
That is interesting, combining the early aggression from Ezreal and Lucian, and the Caitlyn for Hydra is the cover for now. So talk about the Lucian Pyke lane a little bit more, as Sphinx locking themselves down.
It seems like there's going to be the Caitlyn coming from Hydra, but yes, let's talk about Pyke. Pyke is interesting. I love him. He's so much fun to play. And I don't play him support. I play him top lane. So, you know, but let's talk about what we do know. He's got that hook. He's able to get people in close to him, but it seems like Hydra does have some good solutions to that, because they have the Braum and the Sedge, and Urgot all able to help people disengage, and some of those champions actually want to be in the middle of the team. And he's able to heal up a lot of poke damage using the passive from his W. All he has to do is get out of line of sight, and he heals up so much health that he just took from champions and minions. So that plays a lot into a sustain lane. If you have lane control, then you can sustain it so well.
And, you know, that's the 7th unique champion that Vega played. In the meantime, Hydra, Caitlyn and Syndra are picked up. Caitlyn isn't really a champion that Frenzy likes to play a lot, but Syndra for Vanberg. Last week he had such a good game on this champion, and whenever he gets ahead on a Syndra or on any mage that can snowball its own lead, he's a scary player to go up against.
I mean, any Syndra player who knows what they're doing is something you have to fear to the core of your being, because it is absolutely terrifying. But, so like I said, this makes sense coming from Vanborg, and also we're going to be seeing the Gragas come from Sphinx. You know, we have said there's a lot of focus on early gankers and good duelists, and Gragas is pretty good about fighting the other jungler if it does come down to it. And Sejuani, not so much, is more about supporting her team, using that Glacial Tomb, using her passive in order to stun people. And yeah, as far as the Caitlyn goes, Frenzy, he likes these more aggressive ADCs, and Caitlyn isn't really aggressive. She more focuses on trying to line up those good traps, and if someone does engage on top of her, uses the net in order to get away and then get a good headshot off. Is a very safe ADC. So interesting to see that play out the way that it does.
And when you also have the Gragas, then the trio of Gragas, Lucian and Pyke, they could be very lethal. So I'm not surprised a little bit by the Caitlyn and Braum lane from Hydra. As you said, they are safe, they can just disengage it should anything happen. And let's maybe divert our attention towards that mid lane. It's a Syndra versus Cassiopeia, both mages, both able to snowball, and both really want to get some items under their belt, and both don't really have too many escapes apart from their flash. So how does it work also together with both of the junglers?
Well, obviously these two mages going to have to duke it out, and if one of them can get ahead, then that is going to give their team a lot of advantage, and a lot of that, like I said, is going to come from the junglers. Like I said, Syndra does not have much mobility to her name, so a Gragas ultimate able to relocate her is devastating for her, especially if her flash is gone. But Sejuani's the same way. Sejuani can set up incredibly good ults using that Glacial Tomb if it does hit. So Cassiopeia is going to have to be very careful to not get hit by that, and a lot of this is going to be vision, map awareness, knowing where that jungler is.
And we talked about it here, he isn't the normal mid laner for the side of Sphinx. He is coming in for that one game instead of their normal player in Lil Uzi Vert Jr. So the synergy could also be a factor we look at, because if you take a quick look at Syndra Sejuani, they have a lot of setup. You said that Sejuani can set up ults on her own. Well, if you have the Syndra, then that is even more setup. And Cassiopeia, you only have got that miasma to really get away. So the question is on Pierre whether he can communicate effectively with his jungler and the rest of his team to make sure that he doesn't really get dove under turret, which is something that could very well happen.
Also, Hattis Big in the chat, he says, finally, a good draft phase. This really has been pretty fun to watch how these champions are going to synergize with each other and be able to fight the enemy team. See if these players can really pull out this banning phase to its full potential. Both teams are set up for success here.
They are, and one lane we didn't really have talked about, which I feel like we have time, it's still about 4 minutes until the game actually loads, is that top lane. You've got Urgot against Cyan, and Braveheart as a player, he's a pretty versatile top laner. He can play the split push, he can play the team fights, and Urgot is a champion that can both bully the lane and then have the team fight impact. On the other side, Chase Me, he's playing on a Cyan, which is a pick that is purely team fighting with some tools to help him with that laning phase. So that is another matchup that will be interesting to follow as we will load into the game in just a few minutes.
So that Scion is able to just farm so well as part of it, because he can just use his decimating smash and then his exploding shield to really just maneuver around inside of a wave and just wipe it out. And that's what a lot of it is. You're just trying to get farm. And then you can use your E to try and poke out the enemy and bring them down to an uncomfortable level.
One thing that is very important that now as the spectator delay is finally ticking down and we can see the summoners is that Björn on the Cassiopeia, he did go for that cleanse, which makes absolute sense if you think about what kind of composition Hydra has.
If you see that Glacial Tomb coming for you and you cannot dodge it, you maybe don't have the flash up or something along those lines, having that cleanse will be really important. And also, Syndra has some really good stuns in her kit. She can stun you out for so long. I don't know what the exact numbers are, but you do not want to get hit by that because it does have such a long setup and it's pretty difficult to land. That's why it does as long as it is, something like around 3 seconds. It's crazy. So having that cleanse to be able to just pop that and get away if you need to will be incredibly important for Vier.
Yeah, man, I'm excited for Vanberg Syndra especially, because I remember, I think it was a week ago, it was one of the games when he played that Syndra, and he was carrying the game so damn hard when the setup was there from his team, and that was honestly just a joy to watch. And well, the question is if he can repeat that. The setup is there, we talked about it. However, one thing in which Sphinx can counteract that are those Pyke roams. Pyke, when he was released as a champion, and well, still until now, one of his main strengths is roaming. And Braum, he has considerably weaker roams. Yes, he can still get out of lane, but it won't really help him that much. So Vega has got the tools to make sure that Vanberg doesn't snowball, and that it will be Björn on Cassiopeia who will be the one to be feared.
Yeah, using your W in order to move around more quickly is Pyke, and usually you build the boots of mobility, and I usually go water walking as well, just so you can get around the map more quickly. And if you see that, say, the enemy mid laner, oh, they're at a little bit above a quarter health, you send the Pyke up there, because just one good EQ combo can set up his ultimate, easy gold for 2 people, and that's what makes him really powerful as a roamer, because he's able to use his ultimate to that advantage. It's just a perfect execute. You know, it's possible to dodge if you have your flash or mobility ability up, but Syndra doesn't have anything but the flash, so that would be really important too, to see if Vega is able to get up to that mid lane and utilize Pyke properly.
Hey, I mean, it is possible to sidestep this ultimate if you, I mean, death from below. Oh no, 2 executed abilities, both have death in their name. Why, Riot? Anyways, you can sidestep that X actually fairly easily. There's a lot of mind games whenever you play against the Pyke, because you don't know whether he will try to predict you, and you can, and a sidestep in only 45 degrees, left or right, can be the difference between life and death. That's always a interesting ability to try and dodge, and you know, we're going to have to see if Vega can actually utilize those mind games to his own favor and pick up those kills in the mid lane, as you have said. And we should be getting into the game fairly soon, as the timer says. And guys, let us know in the chat, who do you think is going to take the game 1 or the whole series? Will it be Sphinx? Will it be Hydra? We will take a look in just a second.
Yeah, that ultimate from Pyke is essentially, it can be a pentakill button if used properly, but like I said, it's fairly easy to counteract. You know where Pyke is going to be afterwards, after he uses it and it hits. You know, he's going to be right in the middle of that X. And also, if you know, you can flash out of it or use the movement ability to get out of it fairly easily. But that being said, even if Pyke uses ultimate and he burns a flash, it has a much shorter cooldown than a flash, so that is a worthwhile trade.
And burning the summoners is always an important story. If you want to focus on a lane, it usually is the mid lane, and in this matchup it could as well be, just because Syndra and Cassiopeia do not have really any extra mobility, so those repeat ganks and repeat roams will be crucial to follow if any of these teams even want to think about playing through the mid lane.
We got some pretty good skins in here too. The only person who doesn't have a skin is one of the person who's been at the center of our discussion, Viga. What are you doing, man? You gotta get that Pike skin. But you know, that's how the cookie crumbles, as we say over here. So yeah, this is going to be a really fascinating setup. Just overall, we have some really good combos. I think that the only thing that maybe doesn't combo incredibly well would be the Caitlyn and Braum. Oftentimes with a Caitlyn, you want a support that is able to root people, because it is really easy to put a trap underneath them to root them for even longer. And Braum doesn't really have any way of doing that besides his stun, which I believe doesn't really even stun people long enough in order to have the trap activate underneath their feet while they are still stunned. So we're going to have to watch that bot lane and see if they're able to really utilize it properly.
I mean, one thing in which the Caitlyn and Braum lane will be strong at is towards the later stages of the game, because Caitlyn in the mid game isn't that strong. She's pretty good at shoving the lanes in, and then late game once she hits those 4 items. And the Braum is a very good person to protect her. You've got the Lucian and you've got the Cassiopeia. Both of them can be blocked reasonably, though not perfectly, with a Braum, and that is something that I'm looking at for Joker, and if he can make use of it, because I kind of agree that in the lane you don't have that perfect CC synergy, and it can be difficult, especially against a Lucian, to really pull out any advantages. But hey, I mean, Frenzy as an AD carry, he has won some lanes that you don't always expect him to, so I'm just looking forward to see if he can make it happen.
It's also interesting to see that both supports are running the Ignite. Ignite was nerfed not too long ago, so it seems like it hasn't been quite as popular. So it's interesting to see both supports running that. I would think more on the Braum. You might run the Exhaust in order to try and lock people down, especially on a Lucian who is so mobile. Being able to slow him down would be very useful. But you know, that's just how it is. We're going to see which support comes out on top. I think that a lot of this is going to be around the supports, this bot lane, because there's so much potential in both of them. Braum is able to set up incredible setups and whatnot, and also Pike can do a good lot of damage. So whichever of these supports really pops off properly is going to set up their team quite a bit.
Right, and just a news flash to you, the game has technically started, but there is a pause as one of the players did not quite manage to load in, so I hope that we will be there in just a matter of few minutes, and you know, we're going to have to see as yeah, there's just some more waiting, and we promise we will be in the game fairly soon. And we are apparently now in the game, so finally seeing some action, although looking at the positioning, we probably will not be seeing any level 1 invades.
Yeah, just that standard river setup, making sure that nobody tries to do anything sneaky. But, yeah, that's what you expect to see. The main thing to look at is that Munkholm is up there at the blue buff, so that will not be a bot lane start, but it seems to be the same thing with Go Commit Jungle. Both are going to be starting topside, which means that we might be seeing a clash at the bot lane. Poor Chase Me Please. He seems to have forgot to buy his items, and he had to go back and get them. Yeah, it happens sometimes. You just gotta go back. It seems like nothing is really going to come of that.
Hey, I mean, the best mid laner in the world apparently forgot his items. Was that Rookie or was it someone else in the Worlds?
I couldn't tell you.
I think it was, correct me if I'm wrong, but it happens to everyone. Faker has forgot his items once. I am pretty sure it must have happened over all the games he has played. And actually Munkholm decides to start up towards that red buff, so the junglers could be deciding to split them up, although we have seen many different tactics being utilized.
it looks like right at the end, Monkholm did decide to go with the bot lane gank after all. So, or not the gank, leash rather. And so that is going to open up a path for Monkholm to actually gank the top lane first, which, I mean, if you can get that early kill onto a Scion, will really help just set that lane up for Urgot to be able to really get all the resources that he wants.
Right, and Urgot, if he's ahead, he's very scary. Urgot that is conversely shut down is pretty easy to deal with, so both of the junglers could be looking to focus there. As Monkholm, he was staying around that bot side. He will commit into taking the Skylo Crab though, as no major ganks are happening and the bot laners are trading. Birdie managing to deal quite a lot of damage, but also takes quite a chunk in return, and no summoners, no kills, no gank attempts even so far.
So Monkholm is spotted out. There is a ward sitting in that river, and although Monkholm seemed to entertain the idea of ganking the bot lane, quickly figured out that he was being sided out, and so retreated back to his jungle.
And now he's looking for the mid lane. The cleanse is already burned from Bjerre. Monkholm over the wall. He will get spotted out with that Noxious Blast, and Bjerre should be able to get out of his jungle, just burning the cleanse, but that is one of the summoners gone. Gokame jungle is in the vicinity, so I'm just not handing off quite yet, and looks like no further action will happen.
A pretty tame match so far. Just, you want to farm up, make sure you get ahead. Birdie ended up stepping on a trap, took a little bit of extra damage because of a headshot, but you got to watch those. You want to make sure you don't step in them if you're a little bit too close to Frenzy, although sometimes you can use it to your advantage, being able to bait out a Caitlyn to get a little bit closer. A little bit of trade in the mid lane using the Miasma to slow Van Borg down, but nothing much coming of it.
Not really. Both of these junglers haven't really made their mark, apart on that one gang from Monkholm in the top lane. As we near 4 minutes, there are some small CS advantages across the board in favor of Hydra. All three lanes currently seem to be pushing. Mid lane is kind of in the middle, so I'm not sure if that is fair to call it a pushing lane, but that does allow Monkholm quite a freedom of movement. But Gokomet now gets a lot of lanes to potentially gank. There's the Bone Skewer just narrowly missing the Kaelin. A good 90 caliber net from Frenzy gets him out to safety.
So, a little bit of spice there, but we're not expecting too many kills. Like we mentioned before, the Caitlyn is a very safe ADC to play. You have the long range, being able to farm very easily, and also you have a Braum on your side in this case, and Braum is able to just throw up that shield and get back to Caitlyn whenever he needs to with Get Behind Braum. And because it's going to be a very difficult lane to gank unless they are pushed up the way they are.
Braveheart getting so many good trades in the top lane. On to chase me. No Fear Beyond Death available yet. There will be still some time before Urgot hits that spike, and he will force an early recall. So Urgot in the top lane, very strong. Braveheart making good use of the strength of his own champion, and he will get a fairly sizable early CS lead.
That is to be expected from an Urgot, because you can use your Q to poke out a Scion whenever Scion is using the decimating smash, because you're standing still, and so it is some easy damage. So Chase Me Please is going to burn his teleport to get up to the top lane to try and make sure that he is able to secure his CS back, make sure that he's even, but that is going to mean that he's going to have less map presence overall for the next little bit as his teleport recharges, whereas Braveheart is not burning it, so he'll have that TP gank available to him if he so decides to use it.
And Chase Me Please, he will have that access to the Unstoppable Onslaught fairly soon, as Van Berg just lands a stun onto Bjerre in the mid lane, a little chunk of damage, not doing a whole lot. As Gokame jungle, he is sitting around that middle lane. He goes into the lane. Can he find the bot somehow? He gets the minions. Vanberg is though grounded by the Miasma. Half HP Bjerre looks for the chase. He will decide not to follow it though, and Gokame tries to gank in the middle lane, forces the flash from Vanberg crucially, but nothing else comes out of it.
A little bit of attacking the dragon there, but nothing to come of it. And Viga was spotted out inside of that bush. Thought he was maybe going to get some sneaky fish boy plays, but is not going to be able to pull that off. A little bit of fight over a control ward in the river. But as it stands right now, both of these teams are set up. No kills. Oftentimes we see a kill by now. We're approaching the 10-minute mark. But, you know, this is more of a long game.
A much slower pace of the game, just as you mentioned. Taking a quick look at the early items, mostly in the top lane. Braveheart already has got the Phage, which does give him a good trading damage and health spike. And Chase Me Please, he has got that Ninja Tabai.
SRG Sazek talking about how this isn't the Hydra lineup that he played with. And yeah, Hydra has undergone a lot of changes. They're essentially a brand new roster. We could have called them anything if they decided to go with Hydra. You know, you're just changing around a few of the players. And a little bit of a interesting space fight over here in the top lane. Ended up just fighting near the Tribush over some vision, which, you know, is what you want to have.
And it is important that Braveheart has got that deep control ward, and he is able to contest it, exerting so much willpower in that top lane, gives him a strong grasp of the lane, and that is reflected in the CS lead. And as soon as Braveheart finds an opportunity to punish Chase Me, we could be seeing a kill in that top lane. Actually, the disdain goes down. There is the ignite, Fear Beyond Death connects, flash away under the turret. Will he fall beyond the threshold? Not quite. Chase Me will stay alive under the safety of his own turret. And Braveheart unable to find the kill as in the bot lane. Go commit, could be looking for a kill. There is the Phantom Undertow from Viga, not finding the stun. Body Slam will be flashed away from by Frenzy. Teleport is coming down, however. Braveheart is the one charging at Viga in a tough spot. Flash forward, there is the disdain onto the Gragas, who's going to burn down for the first blood as Braveheart gets himself the kill.
That's what we were talking about with the TP, because Chase Me Please had to burn his. But Braveheart did not decide, hey, I'm going to take a little bit of hit to my CS in order to keep that. So he was able to utilize it properly, get to a lane, and secure a kill, which is exactly what you want to do.
Look at the minimap. Chase Me Please is sitting under that turret. Has got the Unstoppable Onslaught. Frenzy, no flash, no mana. Flash forward, oh, a great unbreakable from Joker. He saves his AD carry, but will fall down to Birdie nevertheless. And a good roam from Chase Me.
Although, like I said, doesn't have the TP up, so that is quite a bit of sacrifice. So Braveheart is able to get back to the lane more quickly, able to get some CS. But being able to match that roam and getting a kill for your team is what Chase Me needed to do there. And that is definitely 100% worth. Munkholm right on top of Viga there. There may be a little bit of scoping out there. It seems like Munkholm is deciding to not go in on top of anything, though.
And Viga, he is coming into the jungle of Hydra, slowly exerting that presence on the pike. Not quite the mobility boots yet in his inventory, and actually most of that vision will be now cleared off from the side of Hydra, but the point still stands. Viga has got that level 6 and he has got the threat. If he chooses to roam or invade with the support of his jungle, it could be a very lethal strategy against Hydra.
And now that he has the death from below available to him, that execute could be absolutely massive.
Melee, Vanberg, he's brought back with the barrel. Petrifying Gaze does not quite connect, and Bjerre gets the kill. Gokume jungle is getting ignited down. He should stay alive, and he will. A well-executed gank by the jungler of Sphinx.
And that does give the kill lead over to Sphinx, although... And that does bring us very slightly ahead in CS, just by 100 gold. So nothing too notable, but the fact that they lost the first blood to the enemy team and was able to maintain the same amount of gold is really important for them.
It is, and 11 minutes in the game, a much slower game, only 3 kills, good stuff from both of them and in how they got them. And you can take a basic look at the items. Bjerre on Cassiopeia already managed to complete his Luden's Echo, whereas Vanberg has got those sword boots and is working towards his first item. In the bot side, we've got components of the Blade of the Ruin King, whereas Frenzy went for those boots as well as the BF sword.
So now that let's look over at the bot lane a little bit. We have the longsword and the boots of mobility. It's interesting that he's decided to go for the boots of mobility really, really early on before getting something like a dusk blade. So, that's going to put a lot more focus on Viga's capability to roam. And if he isn't able to use that properly, Bone Skewer coming out but not connecting, it's a bit of a tricky one to land because it does have such a long wind-up.
Yeah, you can see it coming from miles away as the Herald is attempted by Hydra. Currently, no vision for Sphinx, good control of that topside jungle, and they could be looking to pick up the first objective of the game.
And getting that Herald will really help them secure a tower, obviously. Because, and also good thing to keep in mind is that the plating has not fallen, so that it could be some quick gold, that get-rich-quick scheme for Hydra here.
It could, or they could also wait until the plates are fallen and then take a lot of damage from presumably the mid lane turret. Many options now are opening up as the plates will fall in just a minute, and that Herald will stay in the Hydra's inventory for a while longer, as we are really looking for these teams to make some plays in the mid game. So which plays are we talking about? How do they want to actually get a decisive lead? Oh, I think Gokumit might just answer the question. The cask just narrowly misses, but he forces the flash from Vanberg anyways.
Taking away that flash is incredibly valuable. It's always funny to see just that Gragas booking it at full speed. Using that Predator, and then you have that pelvic thrust.
And Stallable also this coming down into the ball lane, finding the gap onto Frenzy. He cannot move, and there's the death from below. Joker and tries to prevent it with the Glacial Fissure, but a double kill will be picked up by Viga. And Chase Me Please with a second roam in the bot lane coming up huge.
And that is a lot of gold for Viga's team as well. That does bring them just 500 gold ahead, but still, any lead at this in such a slow game is incredibly important. And now that they are 3 kills ahead, and they're also getting a lot of damage onto this bot lane turret.
They are, and if you take a look at the gold, it isn't actually that far ahead. There is only about a 500,000 gold lead at 14 minutes, which is a much slower pace than what we are used to. However, as I am talking, Sphinx's bot lane will be looking to take away that first break and now increase it to a significant over 1,000. As Monkholm, he is sitting in the bot lane, has got that Glacial Prison. He will find the slow onto Viga, and he will find but fall back as Vanberg actually kills Bjerre. I did not quite capture how it happened, but Syndra solo kill in that mid lane.
That could be what Sphinx is looking for here. They are falling behind in towers now. They're falling behind in kills. And they're falling behind in gold. But if you can get that Syndra ahead, if you can get Vanberg doing the damage that he wants, then that could be massive for them. And also, the towers have been evened up thanks to the Herald. Now Shelly is looking at that second tower.
She is. The second art is already on 1/4 of the health, dropping even lower as the time goes. It should be that objective secure, and so many good macro trades from both of the teams. The goldie this game has never been above much more than 1,000. Right now sitting only 300 in Hydra's favor, as I feel like they will be looking towards that Cloud Drake, but a much more even game. At 15 minutes there is still no clear winner.
So Sphinx, or rather Hydra, did a great job of controlling Shelly's position and making sure that you could not hit the eye. And because of that, they were able to take 2 towers, which is pretty massive. But now, an engagement in the river.
The Miasma will slow down Monkholm and Joker, and however Sphinx, they do not feel very confident in following that up. Viga just is looking to fish for some Hydras, as in the top lane the Tyrant folds Braveheart and Chase Me. They are trading blows, Braveheart dropping to half of his HP. Already a lot of armor is being stacked for that Scion, which makes trading significantly more difficult, and Braveheart is just going to run under his own turret. No kills going up there, and Hydra now with that tower secure, they are slowly but surely extending their gold lead, as Infinity Edge is now completed for Frenzy.
And that is really important, as we were talking about before. Infinity Edge has been buffed. Those sort of 8 ACs are doing a lot better now. And so you want to get this Caitlyn ahead. Right now, Lucian is hitting sort of the end of his lifespan, sort of the point where he isn't that useful. But now Go Commit Jungle is in the mid lane.
There is the cask into the Phantom Undertow, beautifully executed CC chain from Sphinx, and Björre is the one to get the kill credit onto Vantberg.
And a little bit of Caitlyn ult block there. So that was absolutely perfect, controlling where the Syndra was and communicating with Veiga properly so that Veiga was able to use the Phantom Undertow to get an incredible stun off. That was textbook teamwork there.
It was, and Birdie gets another turret in the top lane as he might be in some trouble. Braveheart is looking to get the kill. The exhaust is dropped down. Lucian trying to get away. There is the flash committed from Birdie. Well, not resulting in the kill, but the Sounders is gone. There is the Glacial Prison Undertard flash away from Björre. He will be able to get 270, but a shutdown landed Frenzy. He is looking for. There is one attack, flash forward, and Jolkren picks the kill up with the Winter's Bite. Kokomate has popped the Predator. A lot of damage onto Frenzy. He has to be careful. Only 200 HP, but he should be able to just narrowly make it out. Chase Me is in that bot side river, and he will be zoned away. This game is such a nail biter for both of the teams, just trading advantages, trading kills, trading objectives across the map.
So just before we saw Sphinx 3 kills ahead, now they are only 1, but they're also a tower behind. And because of that, they're just a little under 1,000 gold behind. So absolutely, where one team is falling behind, the other is picking up. Where one team is exceeding, the other team maybe is a little bit weak. But these just by-the-book plays are creating some just really, really close matchups here. Some duels that can, if just one person wins, if one person gets ahead, could be absolutely massive. Veiga, though, he's in a pretty interesting spot. He is by himself against 2, but it doesn't look like they are going to engage on top of him.
They will not. The Baron spawning in a 1 minute. And if we look at what currently is sitting in inventories, Björre is slowly working towards his second item, which could be a death cap, could be just buying 2 roads for 2 different items. And on the other side, Vantberg, he's slightly behind in itemization. If you take a quick look at the gold between the two, there is a 700 difference. Not very significant, but the Cassiopeia at this point in the game will just dish out more DPS than the Syndra.
And that is where a lot of the Cassiopeia's value comes from, is the amount of damage that she can do in teamfights, because the Noxious Blasts are they're a lot easier to deal with in lane than they are inside of a team fight, just because it's harder to see them in a team fight. You can't really spend your time focusing on getting away from them.
Right, and the Baron is only a few seconds from being on the map. Braveheart is sent towards the bot lane push duty as the 5-man stack of Sphinx will be looking to put the pressure on the mid lane turret. Both of the tier 1 mid lane turrets are still alive, and without them it is hard to extend your vision control into enemy jungle. Neither Hydra nor Sphinx really have any deep wards, as Braveheart, he could be collapsed upon. Go Commit is enabling flash away force from the Air God, and he will make it out alive. What is the response that Hydra bring? Looks like they will fancy themselves a kill onto Birdie. Frenzy is the one to get the credit, and now they will be the ones to put pressure onto that mid lane.
This mid lane turret is bound to fall soon, which, there it is just going to continue to extend Hydra's lead here as far as objectives go, and they are now even in kills with that quick kill on Birdie.
5-5 in kills, 20 minutes. Braveheart in the middle of 3 members. He is hooked back in, but Chase Me is so tanky on that Cyan, and without Frenzy being there to free hit, it is hard to find the damage necessary. And neither of these teams really finding any decisive teams until now. Hydra They are sitting at the 2000 gold lead, and this could be what turns this game around. As go commit, he could be caught out. There's the field beyond that. He will get pulled back in. Hydra, they are committing into the further fight. Chase Me has to flash away. He is stunned up. He did pull back onto Joker, but the Cyan is melting to Frenzy, who's now on a killing spree. And 2 kills going in favor of Hydra. They now blow the gold lead wide open, and the Baron starts. They could be looking to go for it. They could be looking to shove out the mid lane. And with their 4000 gold lead, finally now, they've got choices that they will try to make.
Stunned again, and rooted. That poor Scion Chase Me was just CC'd to hell. And one thing I'd like to point out really quick was Frenzy's wall that he made with his traps. And that actually did a great job of making sure that the enemy team Sphinx were not able to get on top of that dragon.
They were not, and 22 minutes in now, they will be looking to recall and spend all of their gold. Biera also recalls with considerable amount, and that is the death cap for the Cassiopeia, so I do think we need to pay attention to where Biera is in these team fights, because he will hurt you if you are not careful.
So now that the Baron is up, it does seem like either team's going to be going for it, just making sure that it isn't being taken. And it's possible that Sphinx, or rather Hydra, could have taken that, but it would have been a pretty risky play, and pushing up the mid was a much more safe one. They don't have a whole lot of damage on their team, besides Van Borg on the Syndra and their Caitlyn, so it wouldn't have gone down very quickly, especially because there are no Mountain Drakes.
There are not only 2 Cloud Drakes for Hydra, which do allow them to roam fairly effectively. And if you take a quick look at the vision control around the Baron, Hydra have got the basic ward control on the river. There are no deep wards into the Sphinx's jungle, which allows them to set up some sort of base for any of the vision, and it could allow them to find the picks if they play around it right. So right now, vision is the focus as Sphinx move in and place their wards.
This is just the little ward that could over on the bot side as well. But there is a good hook from Viga, but Muggle was able to just dash away back to safety.
He is, and there is a big wave actually pushing into Sphinx right now. They have got the teleport on Chase Me as actually Frenzy and Birdie. They are trading flashes away, flash away from Frenzy. There's the flash here! I mean, that's from below. Viga gets the shutdown. The AD carry for Hydra is down, and Sphinx, they have now 5 versus 4 situation. Do they utilize it correctly? As the AD carry is down, but Viga, he is stand up with that Glacial Prison. He just narrowly makes it out in the end. Breathfire is trying to run him with their Righteous Glory, but because Chase Me is in that bot lane, Sphinx decide not to overcommit. And actually the death of Frenzy did not cost Hydra as much as I have previously thought.
You have to play incredibly carefully if you're going up against the Pike. You never know where he is just going to rush in and execute you. And a good chase from Viga there, but he is going to be in a little bit of trouble, although Munkholm is getting away.
He does have to commit the flash, and the chase is still on. Viga is fishing for it. Another Bone Skewer, he will not find it. There's the Unstoppable Onslaught into the top lane. Chase Me does not manage to connect, but he forces Joker in as well to flash. Many summoners are now down for the side of Hydra, mainly the 3 flashes. The Baron is on the cards. The wave is slow pushing into Hydra right now, so they will be the ones that will need to respawn in just a while. As Sphinx, they take it slow and they will look for that vision.
And there's some really great area control there. Viga does seem to be having some issues really being able to land the Bone Skewers that wants to do. And, you know, maybe if one of those did land, then we'd be looking at a kill lead from Sphinx. But, like I said, it's a very hard one to hit because it does have such a long windup. One thing to note is that the side of Sphinx does not have vision on the Baron. But it doesn't look like there is going to be any capitalization on top of that from either side. They're just going to go back to farming. And if one of them finds a kill onto the enemy, then we're going to be seeing a lot more focus on that monster.
The kill into Frenzy though did not do a lot for Sphinx. Both of these teams, they are very cautious in how they want to approach the Nashor. They are waiting for the perfect opportunity. The problem is that it is 26 minutes and neither of them have really pulled the trigger decisively. And if this game drags on for, let's say, another 10 minutes, which of these team compositions would you favor?
I am definitely going to favor the side of Hydra here. They have that Syndra and that Caitlyn are both really, really great long game players, and if they can just sustain until then.
Engage going to the melee. That is a knockup onto Frenzy. He's deleted by Goku, and Joker and just stand up. A nice glacial fissure, but that does not do anything. There is the death from below. A double kill is picked up. There's the hook onto Vanborg, and the death from below from Vega gets the third kill of the fight. 3-for-1 in favor of Sphinx. Only Mango and Braveheart are alive, and the Baron now surely must be the focus.
So Louis, the only ones who are alive on the side of Hydra that can deal with that is Sej and Urgot. They are full health, but they're going up against a team that is full health as well. But if they are not able to contest this, then that is going to be possibly the end of the game.
Can Mangholm steal the Baron? Can he be the hero that Hydra needs right now? He throws out the Glacial Prison. There's the stopwatch coming out already. The shutdown will be found though. Onto Braveheart. Mangholm is only played. The Baron DPS has been stopped. He has to burn the stopwatch himself. But Sphinx playing it so well. Get the kill and they will get the Baron.
Gokubit Jungle is dropping pretty low there, but is able to use the Smite to stay alive. And that is the Baron. Just really great just control of that entire fight from the side of Hydra there. I mean, or rather the side of Sphinx, because they were able to deal with that Glacial Tomb. It landed on someone who wasn't incredibly low health, and because of that, they were able to just maneuver around and say, okay, let's deal with this person first. And they got Urgot down really, really quickly. And then they were able to respond to the Sejuani trying to get on top, and they also, one thing to note is that they did not continue to hit the Baron. If they had, then maybe Munkholm, as soon as he left that stasis effect, might have been able to smite it. And so just their control of that fight was very, very impressive.
And now they find themselves with a Baron with a gold lead of 1000, which is a big swing if you think about how ahead Hydra were at certain points in the game. A third item on the Cassiopeia in the form of that Liandry's Torment. Gragas is also dealing a lot of damage with that heavy AP build. And with that Baron and only 2 towers taken so far, Sphinx, there is a lot of standing gold in forms of these towers.
And just a little bit of trading in the mid lane, but nothing to really come of it. But they are now going to be able to siege out this tower, thanks to the Baron buff minions.
There was the Glacial Prison coming from the side. Teleport from actually Braveheart. He goes in without Righteous Glory. Can he get the execute? He lands the Fear Beyond Death, but Björk kills him before that. Frenzy gets one back though. Vega is ignited out. He tries to get out away. There is the ace in the hole. Will be blocked by Gokubit, who is now slowed down. Has to burn the flash himself. And Hydra, they are winning this fight. That is a second kill going to the AD carry, who is hooked back in. He could be looking for Vega. He will not be able to secure the kill just yet. Birdie, can he get one back? It will be 2-for-1 in favor of Hydra, and now they are the ones to siege the mid lane inhibitor tower.
And right now it looks like Chasey Please is going to have to back off. That was a great fight for the side of Hydra. They didn't even care that they were going up against a Baron buff, and they are now sieging the advantage.
There's the Phantom Undertow as well as that's also back into Frenzy, who is going to be taken down now by Chase Me. The second kill falling down to Birdie. Malcolm trying to get away on that Sejuani, still very much in the enemy territory. Vega is fishing for that Bone Skewer. He will find the throwback, and Birdie is on a killing spree as 3 members of Hydra will fall.
And although Hydra did a great job of pushing up there, when it came down to it, they had to trade a lot for one inhibitor. But, you know, if we look at this mid lane, there is a lot of advantage for the side of Hydra here. But Sphinx is looking to even it up as they take out that tier 1 mid lane turret, and now they're looking at the tier 2.
They still have the Death Timer on Manko, Frenzy and Jogan have just right now respawned. And That tempo swing is huge. Sphinx are currently sitting at 3,000 gold ahead despite being down in inhibitors and towers. That is a big play for them, and they could be looking to make a death brush. Frenzy Vanguard coming forward. There is the engage, and it's massive. The echo is for Hydra. They are down Joker and trying to run for his dear life. Braveheart in the backline turning onto Birdie. He will flip him back. Can he get the execute? He will be able to find the shutdown himself. That is the one and only saving grace for Hydra. That's a great engage for Sphinx, and Braveheart, he is still trying to run away. Looks like the fight is not yet over. Viera now joins to zone away Joker and Mangholm. Braveheart is still actually running away in that back side, and these fights, they're so chaotic. A good engage from Sphinx, but it is not as decisive as maybe they would have hoped, although Vanberg still 8 seconds until respawn.
Braveheart being able to take out Birdie there was absolutely huge, and able to get away, just running through the enemy jungle, using the blast cone to jump into the Baron pit. He is able to make sure that his team wasn't disadvantaged as much as they would have been if Birdie was still alive, because that is a lot of Sphinx's damage here. And now with the Ocean Drake being taken down, Hydra is looking to respond.
Malcolm is jumping into the pit. Chase Me is dropping low on HP. There is Days in the hole. The dragon has been stolen. Oh, beautiful glacial prison. As Chase Me, he's in a lot of trouble. The Fear Beyond Death has landed. I'm not sure if Braveheart pulled the trigger. It might have actually been interrupted by the Fear Beyond Death. Good miasma to secure the disengage for now. Joker is still looking for more. Hydra, they get the dragon, but kills wise, they are left empty-handed.
Hydra's been doing such a great job of responding. Every time there's something going on, it seems like they're able to deal with it, at least in some way. Taking the dragon there is great. They're sitting on 4 drakes here. Sphinx hasn't been able to pick up a single one.
And now 33 minutes in, the Baron is spawning in 25 seconds. And the 5-man stack of Hydra is looking to siege down the bot lane in him. The mid one is gone. However, there is a lot of engage from Sphinx, and we have seen it. So you always have to be on your watch if you are anyone on Hydra, no matter if you're a tank or not.
Right, I mean, Braveheart, we saw him take a lot of damage just that last fight when that engage happened. A lot of things.
Is the Astral also then Hydra, they are clumping up, but they only find the like a triple petrifying gaze. They don't damage it, however, Björn, it falls down to Frenzy, a double kill for the Kaylee, and the Fear Beyond pulls back. Chase Me, 3-4-0 fight for now from Hydra. They managed to intercept that engage beautifully, and they will be looking to get inhibitors, maybe even end the game.
Viga, he tried to get onto the back line there and play his role as assassin, but now with commit jungle being taken out, well, it's obvious that it didn't work. Ended up missing both the Bone Skewer and the Phantom Undertow, and because of that wasn't able to proc his ult properly. If he was there with his ult, then maybe he could have done something
forward
huge.
From Vanberg. Birdie has to flash under his own fountain. Vanberg is dropping low by the first star and has fallen. The second one looks to be the target. 7 seconds on Vic. I don't think Birdie can save the game. And Hydra, after grueling 34 minutes, will take the game 1 victory over Sphinx.
That was massive. Just really great plays from Sphinx overall. Meant that they were able to secure leads when it looked like they were behind. They stayed aggressive even though they were going up a team that was Baron buffed. Whenever they were engaged upon from a death brush, they were able to secure a kill to at least even it up a little and make sure that they did not get snowballed. And because of that, they were able to wait until the perfect time. And when they were surrounded in a team fight, they came out ahead and pushed straight through the Nexus.
And a beautiful game from both of the teams, because this has been such a nail-biter, trading back and forth the goal, the objective. I don't think that in the end Sphinx managed to secure a single inhibitor, but it did look like they were for a while, and I really have to commend them. But Hydra, they turned out to be the better team in game 1, so how does Sphinx set up? What do they change, if anything, coming into game 2?
Well, they have to get their follow-throughs a little bit better. They have great engage, but it seems like some of their target calling is a little bit off. They're damaging a little bit of everybody. I think that some of the skill shots need to land just a little bit better. I saw a lot of missed bone skewers from Pickout, and I hate to say it, but if a lot of them landed, then maybe this would have been a different game, especially right at the end. A good death from below combo could have turned that last fight around. But that is how it goes sometimes. Everyone misses skill shots, and that's how it is. So Hydra, they had just that little bit better of a scaling composition. A little bit, the Caitlyn dealt a little bit more damage than the Lucian, and things like that ended up spelling what they needed for their win condition.
And on that note, we will throw it over to a short break before seeing the draft in Game 2, so stay tuned to see if Hydra take the 2-0 win or if Sphinx take us to Game 3.
Beckons while you dream. A life never lives in peace. As you stand upon the edge.
Welcome back everyone, we are just a few seconds away from going into the draft for the game 2. After a long and a very close game, Hydra were the ones to come out on the top, and Sphinx, they are now on that blue side. And there are many questions like, do they decide to take the Ergo themselves? Will Hydra ban it away? How do the pick priority changes? What will be the bans?
Well, let's look at this objectively. Hydra, they had a great game. It was due largely in part to their Sejuani jungle, their their Syndra mid lane, and their Caitlyn in the bot lane. Those were a lot of the really big ones here. And there is the Caitlyn being banned away by Sphinx straight away.
Yeah, Frenzy had a very strong performance in those team fights when he was just able to get the kills he needed. Zac taken off once again by Hydra from Goku, and I feel like that will be a recurring ban as Aatrox actually is being removed.
It's pretty interesting to see that in particular get taken away, but Frenzy throwing some shade in the chat, calling out the Caitlyn ban, saying maybe they're a little bit insecure, but it certainly does make sense. Hydra banning away the Cassiopeia in turn, so hey, maybe they're a little bit insecure.
Maybe we're all insecure, or maybe that's just how banning works, you know, you just take something away that you don't want to play against, hence banning it. I mean, that's just my opinion, but both of those responses make sense.
Yeah, I think you're right there. So there is the Urgot being banned away by Hydra. Pretty interesting to see that get taken away since they were the ones playing it last time. But also the Xin Zhao taken away by Sphinx. So this is a very early game. Jungler getting taken away, so I think they're going to be wanting to push this into the late game. Again, although it didn't quite work out for them last time, they were going to be seeing some more late game picks. So we're just sitting on 2 seconds left. They're going to have to pick someone. It is going to be Xayah.
Well, Birdie gets to play a Bird champion, I guess. He does like to play the Xayah, and you mentioned that Sphinx now might want to go for more of a late game composition. And one of the problems with their last comp is that Lucian doesn't really fit into the late game. And we have seen that in the fight, Frenzy was just able to consistently out-damage Birdie. And now getting that Xayah will mean that if the game goes to late game, Sphinx will be in a much better position, but Hydra locking in the Morgana. They could be looking for an aggressive ADC, or they could be looking for the same thing as last time.
I would not be surprised. Well, actually, I was going to say Caitlyn again, but obviously you cannot play the Caitlyn because it's been banned. So possibly the Kai'Sa to go with the Morgana. It's a very good combo since the root from Morgana makes it a lot easier for Kai'Sa to proc her passive for extra damage. And there is going to be the Syndra hovered and gotten by Hydra. So expect a very good performance from Vanborg again.
Yeah, Vanborg last game, he hasn't been really that sort of pop off, very flashy Syndra, but he has done his part. He has found the crucial stuns, the damage, even the solo kill in the mid lane, and seeing him once again on the champion does put a smile on my face as the Lovers duo is open and picked, as well as the Science, so Sphinx already aiming towards that team fighting composition.
And it's also great to see them in the correct order to get that graphic on there properly. And the Silent getting picked up by Sphinx since the Urgot was banned by Hydra. That is pretty much the only choice left for Chase Me. And so, you know, that we were talking about before is having a little bit of restriction on what exactly he can play makes it a little bit tough for him.
And Hydra, Sivir locked in for Frenzy. Both of these teams seem to be wanting to have that late game guarantee. However, I wouldn't really call them purely late game comms, because Hydra, they've got the Morgana and Syndra. That means that their mid game pick potential will be big, and we'll see what both of these teams will ban out. That is an Anivia already removed by Hydra.
A really big thing with the Sivir as well is just creating engage opportunities. As soon as there is one good pick or something like that, you can use her ultimate in order to get the entire team into the position they need to be in. And when you're using a Syndra, using a Morgana, that helps set up Morgana's ultimate, that helps Syndra get into position to land good stuns, and just overall is a great team fighting champion that requires a little bit more teamwork than other champions. And so when you have a team like this that's always in the voice comms, and we saw some great teamwork from their last game, it means that they are probably going to be able to use Sivir to her full potential.
Jarvan also removed by Hydra. They want to get rid of those junglers that can easily set up the fights. Gragas is still open if Sphinx want to go for that, and actually surprisingly neither of the junglers have really picked their champions yet. Sphinx will have to see what their last ban is. The first one was a Camille, and the second one will be Sejuani, which I am not that surprised, and as Mankholm had a pretty good performance on the last game.
There were some great glacial tunes. We were talking about skill shots. That is a fairly easy one. It's not incredibly difficult, but it isn't easy. And there were not any missed glacial tunes, not that I could see. And that just set up Hydra so incredibly well for their fights. And also, we're going to be seeing the Fiora be picked up. This is a really good pick for them. That counters Sion incredibly hard, but that does mean that Hydra doesn't have much in the way of a tank.
No tank, not really even team fighting. Yes, they have got the Syndra and Sivir, but when you draft yourself a hard split push like Fiora, you are really throwing away the prospect of a 5 versus 5 team fight out of the window. And Braveheart, he has got good performances on Fiora. He does play this champion, so I'm looking forward to see if he can bully out the Sion. But in the meantime, Sphinx, they lock in themselves the Zoe.
Although Fiora does have some decent kit for teamfights, namely her ultimate being able to provide heals for her teammate if she manages to get a kill or land those 4 hits, she does definitely perform much better as a solo laner. So this is really interesting. We're going to see an Evelynn and a Karthus both picked up for the jungles.
Well, that is one hell of an interesting matchup, to say the very least. Evelynn for Go Commit. He has shown signs of it in his solo queue, and I believe he might have picked it as well in the Wintersplit. And Karthus, I thought that was Gone Riot, please, you were meant to get rid of it. But, well, looks like it is still going to be picked by Hydra. Will go into Mankholm's hands.
So we've seen Mankholm use the Karthus jungle. We seem to see it every game, especially if they win the first one, they break it out in the second. If they lose it, you know, they have the third to possibly come back. But like we say, no tank on their team, except theoretically you could with the Karthus, but it's not really a thing. And so because of that, they're going to have to play incredibly carefully. One good engage on top of them means that they are going to melt quickly. And so they're going to have to be on the more aggressive side and try and get picks where they can whenever people are alone.
And you mentioned there is no tank on the side of Hydra. That also increases the value of Zoe and Evelynn so much. If you can run the Sleepy Travel Bubble, then there is barely any tank. You technically have got that Black Shield, but if Fiora gets fed on the Zoe, he will be near unstoppable, since there is nothing apart from the Repose on Fiora that can actually block the damage. And Evelynn for Go Commit, if that gets fed, that is an assassin. And there is no tank, as you said. There might be some magic resist, and I would actually expect it to be built by Hydra. But apart from that, those two champions will have free reign, as unless Hydra really get the ball rolling.
If they can utilize what they have chosen properly, then absolutely this could be great for either team. They have on the side of Hydra, we've seen them have some really great teamwork, which means that they may be able to use these more risky picks to their advantage, these picks that require a lot of teamwork, such as the Fiora and the Sivir. But Sphinx is set up for success here too. They have the Xayah and Rakan combo, giving them really great engage that is difficult to deal with. They have the Scion, which we've seen gave them some great engages just last game. And like you're saying, that Sleepy Trouble Bubble could set up a really easy Evelynn Charm, which is probably going to be a secure kill against this squishy team.
One thing though that we also need to look at is the sheer amount of damage that Hydra will have. Karthus is known ever since he has been a jungler, which is like probably a month ago or so, but ever since he has been playing in the jungle, he puts a timer on the game. Once he hits certain items, you cannot deal with him. Syndra, we've seen what Vanberg does, and the infamous 500 CS severe win condition should also be online. So even though there is no tank on the Hydra, they will hit significant damage as this game moves on. The question is, will it actually be enough to make it work with a split pusher and no frontline?
It is going to be pretty rough for them, but if they can pull it off, then that is huge. So a lot of this is going to be focused on Sphinx's ability to not get caught out, because if they have a rough time of getting into position, or they are roaming by themselves and end up not controlling the vision properly and so get sighted out, and Hydra engages properly on top of it, then that can be their doom. Also, one thing to note is you sort of have to pay the Karthus tax, so that forces people like Zoe and possibly Evelynn to invest in Azonias, or at least some way to deal with that ultimate, because the Morgana is on the side of Hydra. You also can't use the Black Shield to try and shield somebody from it.
I feel like we talked a lot about the matchup as a whole, because these team competitions will be very crucial to look at. However, let's talk about something much closer to home, which is how we can expect the early game to go, and I feel like we should be looking at it lane by lane. So let's maybe start with the top lane, although I feel like there might not be a hell of a lot of action, as both Sion and Fiora, they really want to get some items under their belts.
Once the Fiora is able to get proper items, the Braveheart is going to be able to do quite a bit, because that counters Sion incredibly well. You can use the Repose to parry either the Unstoppable Onslaught or the Devastating Strike, because both of those are CC abilities and are fairly easy to predict, and because of that, that will be an easy stun for Fiora in those situations, and her maneuverability makes sure that she won't get caught by too many of those devastating strikes as well.
Right, and taking a quick look at the middle lane now, we will just go lane by lane as the game should be loading in about 2 to 3 minutes. Syndra versus Zoe. Vanberg last game played against a Cassiopeia, which is a champion that really likes to farm. On the other side, Bjerre is now playing that Zoe, which does like to poke you down, and if you overstep, you can be in a lot of trouble.
You do have to be incredibly careful. And when we're talking about this Zoe on the side of Sphinx, if Hydra plays a little bit too aggressively and they don't have a way to protect their teammates that get slept, then that is going to be a really rough time for them, because they are just going to get poked out if one of them gets slept. And with the amount of CC that Sphinx has, literally every one of their characters has a hard CC ability, and Hydra is going to have to be just so careful in order to deal with that properly.
And I feel like there is one last name which actually is pretty interesting in my opinion. We've got Sivir and Morgana into a Xayah and Rakan, and whereas we know that Lover's Duo has a lot of pressure in the lane, Morgana is very strong in this meta for one reason. A lot of supports want to engage, and Rakan is no exception. That Black Shield can have a lot of worth. As well as the spell shield, Vega can find it very difficult to engage in that bot lane at all, and if he oversteps, you've got that binding from Joker, and so how does the dynamic in the bot lane actually develop?
A lot of it is going to have to be the side of Sphinx trying to bait out that spell shield and black shield from the side of Hydra. If they are able to do that, that will help them really set up their engages properly. But if the side of Hydra can properly decide what is going to be happening, if they know that this is actually just a bait, they know not to burn that spell shield or that black shield, then they will be able to shut down Rakan's grand entrance if he does decide to properly go in.
Alright, another thing that we could be looking at this game, though a bit less, are those junglers, because Gokumit and Mankholm last game they had Gragas and Sejuani junglers, which do like to gank a lot. And this game they are playing pigs, which much more prefer to scale. Karthus' ganks are very hard to pull off, and Evelyn does need access to her ultimate. So I feel like if last game was slow, then this game we could be seeing something even slower, because you've got that jungle pressure removed, unless one of the laners decides to take the matter into their own hands and find some leads on their own.
So now we are getting into the game. It is just on the edge of being loaded up, and we're going to have to watch for invades. Do they decide to go for it? Do they not? We have some fairly decent invade capability from both of these teams. Both could decide to go for it and make a go of it. Especially I Am Jokerin with the root could be massive if it is landed. But Viga, if they decide to go like grand entrance instead of the Q, then it could be pretty good. It seems to be that there is going to be a 5-man invade.
Hey, Hydra, they are moving down towards that bot side. However, Vega might just spot them out. He does not react. He is in the range of the binding. There is the ground entrance to just remove himself from the lethal zone. And good attempt by Hydra, good response by Vega.
Just, if Vega wasn't quite as attentive, if maybe Jokerin dedicated a flash, you know, that's a big thing to call for. The flash binding might have been able to catch him and kill him, but now Braveheart getting hit up.
He's going to get knocked up by the decimating smash from Chase Me. Some nice moves in on that level 1. They will not result in anything major. No real advantages gained by any of these teams. Vander could just poke out Gokumit before he joins his red buff, and looks like both of the junglers might be prioritizing a bot side start this game.
The main thing that will come of that is that Braveheart will have a lot less health now that the lanes have started, which means that it's going to have to be pretty careful. Otherwise, Chase Me Please will be able to extend that health lead quite a bit. Although now that the attacks are actually coming through and she is able to get just a little bit of damage there, the lifesteal is bringing her back up.
It is, and as we go into the lanes, nothing too surprising. Everyone is just farming. Gokumit, he cannot really find any early ganks unless Vega finds a great setup with that grand entrance. In the bot lane, Mankholm, Karthus ganking. I don't think Karthus and ganking really go together that well unless you have some insane setup or you've got level 6 and you can quote-unquote gank a lane.
And it's really more just every once in a while you gank all the lanes, and if one of the lanes can get ahead, there's what we were talking about before with that black shield, just completely countering the grand entrance, making sure that it does not actually knock them up. That is going to be pretty great for Hydra if they can just continue to do that exact same thing.
And the lanes, they are very calm. Just like last game, neither of the junglers, as I'm saying too much, I'm a broken record at this point, are looking for the ganks. Gokumit is actually slightly positioning up towards that top side. If you can invade a Karthus successfully, it can give you a lot of advantages no matter what jungler you're on, as long as you've got some early damage.
And so right now we're just looking at these lanes, trying to see if one person can get ahead. And with that pretty great dodge there from Braveheart, seemed to be just some big brain plays, and the great riposte, making sure that it was not knocked up, doing quite a bit of damage to Chase Me Please.
Definitely that Fiora already getting the better end of the trades. There are also some trades in the mid lane. Actually, the cleanse is forced by Vanberg, which is important because you could be setting up those ganks later on if you are go commit and you hit your level 6.
It seems like Go Commit now is looking for at least some vision control. The jungle actually could be going towards the mid lane as he's just sneaking around behind that wall.
There is no stealth, the charm is already going out, the allure will go towards Vanberg. He has no mana, has to burn the flash, the power star does not connect from Pure. He has to use his cleanse just in case there was anything coming out. Malcolm paying a visit to that mid lane will not find success in getting anything. He will just take some minions, make sure that at least someone picks up the gold. And first not in the top lane, and it will be traded back. Braveheart just diving, Chase Me going full on in.
But that is going to be the first blood for the side of Hydra, which does put them just a little bit ahead. They're just 200 gold ahead, and now the teleport is going to be burned from Braveheart to make sure that his tower doesn't take any damage here.
He gets the first blood kill that gets him double longswords, and the earlier you can get your Triforce and Ravenous Hydra, which is a very expensive spike, but once you get out on Fiora you will be very happy, and anything that gets you closer to that is a good decision. So even though Braveheart traded back the kill, used the teleport, he will not be too sad about it.
Yeah, the main focus here is just getting the CS. You want to make sure that you are getting as much gold as possible. And, burning the teleport for that is a worthy cause in this case, because Fiora isn't as good of a TP ganker anyway.
No, she isn't, and so far early on Hydra 700 gold lead, bigger than last time, still not a lot by any means. It mostly comes down to the individual CS differences and pretty much nothing else. So good for them, they can farm. 6 minutes into the game, 1-1. A bit more action than last time, but still not that much.
I mean, last game we were sitting at 10 minutes with, I think, just 1 kill, whereas we already have 2 kills and it's just 6, so definitely there is a little bit more happening this time around. And right now, it just seems like the bot, let's look at sort of ganking ability here. We talked about that with Karthus. Malcolm can't really gank much, can maybe go in and deal a little bit of damage, but the main thing he's looking for is his ult, which he does now have, and so is now able to use the Requiem in order to follow up on people if they're able to just push down the enemy very, very low. At this point is going to be dealing just around 200 damage, but Go Commit Jungle is in that bush, ended up getting a little bit of surprise, but Malcolm is not going to get charmed.
He will notice there is some trading between those junglers in the top side river. Vanberg is coming up actually as the grand challenge is issued onto Chase Me Please in that top lane. Braveheart, if he can get the kill, he procs all of 4 of the stacks. There is a solo so to buy some more time, and the repose from Braveheart. He picks up a second solo kill in the top lane.
That was the perfect critical point to spawn for and was able to just smack it with that riposte at that long range and get the kill. A little bit of fight going on in the jungle as well, as Monkholm is fighting with Go Commit Jungle and getting some good Dark Harvest procs.
He has no mana though, he cannot really use too many spells, and the pressure from Björn will mean that he has to recall as a binding landing onto Birdie Zakira under the tower. There are minions though, so he will stay alive, and the fighting starts to slowly break out in this game. And Braveheart, he is a top laner that has been fairly consistent, though he doesn't really carry, but if he gets his split pushes and he manages to get some leads, he will be the person that you see in the corner of your room when you have the sleep paralysis, because he is a nightmare, and a BF sword on Fiora at 8 minutes is going to be so hard to deal with.
And now, we notice here in the bot lane, Birdie and Vega are just sitting at right around 300 health, but they're already looking to back, and the reason is because right now, Monkholm's ultimate will deal exactly 290 damage, and they don't really have anything in the way of magic resist or anything like that, unless they have that in their runes. So they have to be incredibly careful, and with just a little bit of communication, could be very, very good for the side of Hydra. And now, the binding.
The binding landing onto Vega, he is very low, and there comes the Requiem. Bird is very low as well. He just nearly dies. Monkholm getting a skillful kill on a gank in the bot lane.
That's what we were talking about, is just the communication. As soon as someone drops to a point where the Requiem can kill him, it's called out, hey, this person can be killed. Press the button. And the button is pressed and they die. And that is going to help secure their kill lead. It is now 3-1.
And a 1500 gold as well in favor of Hydra. Looking at the items, they are looking strong. Frenzy has the BF sword as well as the boots. Van Borg, not quite there, but he is sitting on 400 gold, so not that much. There isn't any considerable lead in the middle lane right now, but everything else is going to be big, as there is actually the flash engage from Vega, flash away from Monkholm. There's the Battle Star, does not connect, but the Sleepy Child Bubble will, and that should be the kill, going in favor of Bure.
Evening that up a little bit.
Look at the unstoppable onslaught. Van Borg is caught out of position. He cannot move. A double kill for Bure, Zoe and Sphinx. They are not done in this game. They will fight back. They could be looking for Jokeran, who has got his flash but will not be forced to use it. And the goal lead is narrowed down to just over 500 gold as Sphinx pick up 2 kills in the river.
Where did that unstoppable charge come from? Oh, I was not expecting that at all. And that just perfectly set up Van Borg for his death. But now, quite a bit of good engage on the bot lane is going to drop Vega down to half health.
Braveheart, though, is in a 1 versus 2 top lane situation. We'll see if he can kite his way out of that. Looks like actually it will be Sphinx to call off the chase. So the answer is yes, he can. And this game just sets out to be so similar to the last one. Maybe the only difference that it's slightly faster.
If Hydra can just continue this even game and then find that one good team fight and just be able to win out these team fights by just good shot calling, then they will be able to win this. Both teams are being set up for success here, but it definitely does seem that Hydra has the advantage.
Top lane, chase me please, just slither of HP is left. Braveheart, he is getting ganked, though Gokumet is in the top lane. Good flash away, prevents the charm, but there it is, with the haste back in the last caress to take care of the shutdown, as Gokumet gets himself a successful gank.
That was some really great prediction from Gokumet Jungle there. Knew that the flash was going to come out and then saved the charm for later. Just perfect execution there. So great. And that does help even up the top lane a little bit. But, you know, it's good to note that that was not a solo kill for Chase Me Please. So he's still relying very heavily in order to be able to kill Braveheart. Whereas if it is more of a 1v1 situation, Braveheart is going to be able to take an advantage and be able to win that duel.
And right now, as we are 12 minutes into the game, the thing that we touched on in the early game, I'm just gonna hold on to that point, as we could be seeing a fight. However, both of the teams don't really seem to be committing, so I will quickly say it. Bure and Gokumet, they have got the majority of the kills of their team. Both completed the Sorg boots, and level 6 is already available for Evelyn. And therefore, they will be strong. We have to look at these two players to make the advantages for Sphinx and actually win this game.
And we are going to have to wait and see how that turns out. Monkholm actually did drop a little bit low in a fight with Bure, and now the Requiem.
Vega is already down, however, a kill is traded for Bure, and Jokeran is in a tough spot. Bure is there on the Zoe. Can he get the kill? However, Monkholm joins the fight. There is the stopwatch coming out from the Morgana. Birdie tries to get the damage in. There is the Dark Harvest proc for Monkholm. The Requiem has been used already. This whole fight ends in a 1-for-1 trade.
That was a great stopwatch from Jokeran. They're able to just stall out the sleep. You know, you actually saw that the asleep was pinged above the health bar, and because of that, as soon as the stopwatch ended, was able to get back behind his teammate.
Look at Vanberg, he uses the scatter the weak. There is unleashed power as well, not enough to burst. Go commit, and now Vanberg on 200 HP. He's all but set to die unless he can make some fancy footwork. There is the blast when he decides to use it over the wall to go further south. However, can he get out? Can he go for the exit? He has to, and he should be able to. Nice escape from Vanberg. In the meantime, Braveheart takes the first tower up in the top lane.
That was pretty hilarious there. We saw the jungler there, you know, Go Commit knew that chances are going for the blast cone, so I'm going to go to the dragon and make sure that if they jump over that way.
Look at the engage on the Joker. He's taken down by Birdie. Frenzy trying to dish out the damage with the ricochets. He will not be able to deal enough. And Sphinx, they are striking back, though even they have the kill lead, the gold is still behind.
Yeah, I mean, that comes down to a lot of CS and just objective control, but with this tower falling for Sphinx here is going to help even up the objectives a little bit. Now they are sitting 1-1 as far as towers go, even though they are 2k gold behind.
And let's see, have you read up on your new items?
I know about the spear, and I know that it basically makes Yasuo very, very strong, but I don't know everything there is to know about it.
Well, I feel like it will also be really strong for Fiora. We'll just hold on to that point. We could be seeing a fight. It grants you some nice stats, AD, health, and CDR, which are all very helpful on Fiora. And after you cast your ultimate, you get 50% attack speed and every Van's Kuna. However, Gokumin goes in, does not find the damage on the last quest, but Björn snipes down Vanberg with this sleepy trowel. That is a kill for Sphinx.
That's even
and then double! Björn, the Danish sniper. I mean, everyone is Danish, but hey. He's the sniper.
He is just not letting up, just making sure...
He's Swedish. Sorry. I'm sorry, he's Swedish.
The Swede, normally they stay out of these things, but I mean, not him. He's just going in. There's the Requiem coming out. It's not going to get anybody, though. It is going to make Go Commit Jungle be a little bit more cautious with this drag. Going to have to actually retreat from it until his team is there, but they're still going to be able to pick it up.
I just want to apologize to the whole country of Sweden and Denmark. You guys are pretty similar. Anyways, coming back to the game. I probably shouldn't assume nationality, but Sphinx, they get themselves the kills, they get themselves the picks. 5-0 and 1 on Björn. Has got that Luden's Echo completed. He will hurt like a truck, and we have just seen it. Every kill he gets just get him even closer to that nuke potential.
But there is the Herald being taken down by Hydra, rather. So that is going to help them just secure their objective lead. They are now even in objectives besides the Herald being taken. And they have also are behind in drags. So being able to use that Herald properly will help even them up.
It will, and last game we have seen Hydra open up their lead building with that Herald usage in the bot lane. They still hold a narrow, just under 1,000 gold lead. Most of it is sitting on Braveheart and how ahead he is in Hydra. Actually, the entirety of it is sitting on Braveheart. He is the only person that is ahead in gold from the side of Hydra. That is a 3,000 lead, so that does speak a lot. And what this means is that Sphinx in the 4 versus 4s, when the top laners aren't involved, they will hold the advantage.
And the gold lead is evening up quite a bit right now. Both are just sitting at right about 28,000 gold, and they're incredibly close. So a lot of this is going to come down to just which teams can engage better now. And with a little bit of fighting in the top lane, it's going to end up just being more of a just almost like the lanes have swapped a little bit, and they're just going to try and defend this tower.
They will, however, you've got that Essence River, the Essence River, Jesus Christ. My English isn't working today, on Birdie, which makes him a very strong AD carry at this point. Frenzy has not completed his first full item as Gokomet, he's looking for a mid lane gank, he will land the charm onto Vanberg, the cleanse is there in time, Exhaust is thrown down as well, and the Syndra will make it out.
Just a lot of fighting back and forth here. Vanborg, yeah, he is incredibly low right now. He's just sitting on 160 health, but taking the very safe route, just gunning away. But now Go Commit Jungle is looking to commit a gank in the top lane.
He has got access to the last caress. We have seen him delete some people. They would need to bait out the Black Shield from Jokrento and Mankholm. He is in the area on the Karthus. Actually, both junglers will narrowly miss each other. It will be very awkward for them when they spot themselves. As Mankholm, he's charmed up. He has to flash away under his own turret. And there's the engage from Vega with the quickness. Gokomet already slays the Karthus. Frenzy under his own turret. Teleport is coming in from Chase Me Please. And there is the ultimate from the Sivir. The fight is on so many different fronts. Birdie tries to get Frenzy. However, he will fall to the Sivir, who just now lists himself a double kill. Will be found. Björn tries to get a return kill. And Hydra managed to actually take the fight in their favor. 3-1.
That
and made that
is
4.
That is pretty huge there. Although it is worth to note that Monkholm did die holding the Herald, and its respawn time is, or its timer is shorter than his respawn time. So the Herald is gone. That was a pretty massive play from the side. Actually, no, it seems like it actually paused. It does have 20 seconds left, so they're going to have to burn it fast if they want to use it properly.
And we really need to keep our eyes on Frenzy, because before this fight, I said he doesn't have an item first completed. I didn't think he can pull out this sort of damage, but he did. And that one Hydra to fight, they are now sitting at a 2,500 gold Infinity Edge Sivir. This is going to be absolutely terrifying with those ricochets, and this is the person we need to watch out. Yes, they've got Braveheart on the split push, but if they could win that fight, then Hydra, their fighting is not that bad.
And I mean that
Frenzy, he was in a bit of a tough situation here, but he will be able to make it out in the end.
Yeah, largely due to using that spell shield properly, just making sure that he wasn't knocked up. And there is Shelly ramming her head into that tower, dealing a lot of damage. But the team is here to respond, and it seems like Hydra recognizes that. They are backing off, letting Shelly just get one more good charge onto the tier 2.
Unstoppable, almost not good Black Shield from Joker, and also a stopwatch to buy some time from Mankholm. He's just absolutely obliterated though. That is the jungler down the Karthus. That's full Braveheart. He melts to Chase Me. It ends up being a 1-for-1 trade for now. Both of these teams are a bit unhappy with how it turned out, but they will not be able to find any subsequent engages for the time being.
Braveheart, he is definitely living true to his name, just sticking right on the enemy team around that Squire's Bloom. But, you know, he is able to get away. But a really great Sleepy Trouble Bubble onto Jokerin takes a lot of damage.
Pierre actually has to use the... Oh, he picked up the Zonias. That makes a lot of sense. I just looked at Switch and wait, where is the stopwatch? Well, Pierre will stay alive, and that is a Mountain Drake going in favor of Sphinx, which will help them shred this Baron and any other objectives they go for.
And now the Baron is alive, and we are sitting at 22 minutes. So both teams are going to be looking towards that one good team fight for either side. Means that it's going to be looking at that Baron. So, you know, keep an eye on Go Commit Jungle and Monkholm here. If either of them fall, then that could be the game right here. And with the gank in bot, could be it.
Michael and Braveheart both are hammering away on that turret. It might be a 2 versus 2. The charm connects. Gokomet goes and he gets the assassination onto Michael, handing over him his 4th death of the game. And let's not forget, Sphinx, they need to win this game if they want to have a game 3. And Gokomet and Björn, these two guys, they refuse to fall.
You know, I hate to say it, but I've seen the Monk Home on Karthus a lot, but I almost never see it actually work. But Braveheart is dealing just an insane amount of damage to Chase Me Please, you know, fulfilling that request, and he's going to have to use the Unstoppable Charge to get away.
Well, now the three members of Hydra will be looking to put pressure on the tower as Frenzy, he is alone in that river, very close to go commit, and Sphinx will be happy with taking that mid lane tower. 23 minutes into the game, the Baron has not been started. Hydra, they are sitting on a gold lead as another trouble bubble connects, and even though Hydra are ahead, it does not feel like it.
Yeah, they are ahead in gold, but that seems to be it. They technically have one more tower, but they are behind 2 Drakes and 2 kills, and because of that, it's going to be really difficult for them moving forward. They have to be incredibly careful about this Baron. So, you have to keep an eye on this. Whoever gets the Baron at this point could be the winner. Although, just last game, we saw Hydra respond incredibly well to a Baron buff team. They actually took an inhibitor, just straight took an inhibitor in a fight, fighting against a Baron buff team.
And that brings me back to that one play where Sphinx went for the Death Brush. Their engage in this game is even better. They've got the Scion on Chase Me, and they've got Vega on a Rakan. You also have got the Evelyn trying to cause a rampage in the backline, and BRF for the picks. That means that if Sphinx manage to get some nice foothold of vision control, which they are doing right now, they will be a deadly team to go up against.
But, I mean, look at Chase Me Please. He is taking so much damage from Braveheart, and the reason is not only is he 3 kills behind, but he is nearly 100 CS behind as well.
Braveheart just playing this Fiora so well this game, able to control the side lane, get that massive CS hit as you just mentioned, and he is holding Hydra in this game very dearly in terms of map pressure as Chase Me Please. He's on the 3rd of his HP, there's the Grand Challenge, he goes in with the Unstoppable Onslaught, and the Braveheart goes in, goes out, gets the kill, barely even touched.
And look at this top lane here, a lot of fights going on with Vega running away from Joker, and the binding may be coming out soon.
It may be, that is the Sleepy Child Bubble connecting though onto Vanberg. BRA looking for that nuke, he will direct it towards Joker, and then even though Braveheart has the pressure on the bot side, a fight could be erupting. That is a stand on to Birdie, he has to commit the Featherstorm as well. The Requiem is available, if any of these members fall slow, that should be the kill going over to Hydra, so Sphinx need to approach this very carefully.
There was actually an incredible play there from BRA, actually used his ultimate in order to dodge the binding. He just moved in front of it, a little bit like sometimes you dodge by flashing through it, and that was pretty great to see.
Oh, great scatter the weak from Vanberg, denies Vega the engage, and that burns the quickness. There comes the Requiem, just for some initial damage, as the top lane is going away. Vanberg finds the double stun, double flashes away from the bottom of Sphinx, and there's the unleashed power! Vanberg finds the kill, he flashes forward, gets the double for the Syndra, as Hydra, they are pushing through. Braveheart fancying himself yet another, like he will find it, on a rampage with that Fiora, dashes over the wall. 3 kills in favor of Hydra, and they are turning towards this Baron, looking to put the nail in the coffin of this game.
But Go Commit Jungle is up, and Monkholm actually has to burn the Zonias just to stay alive from the Baron. And so they are looking pretty worse for wear right now. Go Commit Jungle, he can actually execute with Last Caress Monkholm.
No flash though, so he has to somehow close that gap. He will be going for Frenzy. There is no mana on this inhibitor. There is the damage coming through. Good spell shoot, but it's not enough. The shutdown will be found by Go Commit, and he is the person that is trying so hard to keep Sphinx alive in the series.
So while all that was happening, Braveheart was in the bot lane, managed to take the inhibitor turret and deal a little bit of damage to that inhibitor as well. But Baron is going to stay alive. Instead, it is going to be the second Mountain Drake that is going to fall, which will be very, very valuable for Sphinx here, as having that second drag will give them a total of 20% extra damage onto the Baron, and a lot of really great damage against the towers as well, which will help them secure a objective lead, because they are behind right now. And if they manage to get a little bit ahead, taking out Monkholm, for instance, or Vanborg, could help them try and go for the Baron.
Right, and their 4-man stack has been shown to be going pretty well up against the 4-man stack of Hydra. Yes, their top laner will lose in a 1v1. We said that before the game. That is not a mystery. Fiora is sitting on three items, which means that nothing you throw at her will stop her. I want to see Sphinx utilize the Rakan engage and go commit and Björn's damage as well as Birdie's in a while to find the picks and get Sphinx the actual lead.
It seems like we're going to be having a Baron fight soon. Both teams are moving up in that direction, and now we get into that classic poke. But let's take a quick look over at the bot lane. Braveheart is 1v1ing Chase Me Please now in that lane.
Michael is obliterated! Go commit, that is not legal! There comes the engage, the quickness onto 2 members. But this guy is trying to dish out the damage. Frenzy has to get out alive. There is the on the hand burn as well. Inhibitor falls down in the meantime. That is a great pick, good damage from Go commit. But if they want to translate it into anything else, they need to act quick, as Braveheart already took the inhibitor.
Thanks to Braveheart's pressure, they can't take the Baron right now, even though they managed to take out Monkholm. And now Braveheart right in the middle of the enemy team.
He goes in, he slays Birdie, gets the double kill. Chase Me in the middle of the fight, but can't do anything. He goes in with the Assault Ball, goes out through the jungle. And Braveheart is coming up huge in this game.
This is the point. He's just been solo farming for so long, being able to win that duel all on his own. Bjerre, though, having a little bit of action here.
The Red Queen is coming down. He gets the kill on Joker and will be traded back in. Now only 2 members alive. Go commit is alive and well. He's sitting behind the Baron. Last caress unavailable for 30 more seconds. The Baron is dropping down, not at a very fast speed. We need to watch out for him. If he can get in and get some assassinations, that will be huge. No ultimate though, as I mentioned.
But now Braveheart is there, and that is the big difference here.
Go commit cannot get into the pit, and the Baron will be secured by the side of Hydra. Braveheart, level 18 Fiora, 4th item completed. He will be absolutely unstoppable no matter what lane he chooses to go.
And that's what we saw there, is we never saw him anywhere but fighting Chase Me Please. And all he was doing is just securing his lead, to the point where as soon as he did come in, it was just a huge surprise how much damage he was doing. And he was able to just delete 2 characters of Sphinx because of that.
And now with the Baron buff within the 8,000 gold lead, is this what Hydra need to close out the game and to close out this series? Can Sphinx actually find a miracle fight and stay alive? We will have to see, as Braveheart is put back in that top lane to just split push his hard. That was Go commit. He could be looking for engage. There is Vika going in with the quickness. The deletion is coming in onto Malcolm already. The Zhonya is forced from Vanberg as the turret falls in the top lane. Let's not forget, even if Sphinx win the fight, they might be in a lot of trouble as Vanberg actually finds the kill onto Bjerre. That is the second carry down as Braveheart joins the fight on the Fiora. Vika trying to get out to safety on that Rakan. He goes over the wall with the grand entrance. Only Go commit is the damage dealer left alive. Vanberg, Frenzy, Braveheart, Joker, all still alive and well, as there is the QSS from Braveheart. He nearly deletes Go commit, who has to use the light caress defensively. He is unfeared. He cannot be scared on that Fiora. He just lunges forward and dishes out the damage.
Look at him just rip through those waves, and look at his lifesteal. He's already back up to full health pretty much, and the charm may be coming through. It is. He's taking a lot of damage, but he's going to survive for now and get the kill.
He gets the shot out. Goku made on a 45-second death timer. Bjerre is alive. Bird Sakura also 1 second now is on the map. Guardian Angel is not even popped by Braveheart. And Hydra, they are so dominant in this game. Securing an over 10,000 gold lead. Still have the Baron buff for about a minute. Next Dragon Ghost opponent will be the Mountain. And they will be looking to secure it and close out this series.
If they can get this Mountain, that could be it. Combine that little bit of extra tower damage with the Baron buff that they have for a little while longer, they may be able to just combine this into what they need to push it through to the end. Although, since they have 2 inhibitors down, just taking the drag and securing that, you don't really have to push. Just waiting until Baron comes up again and taking it again will secure the game for you.
It will, and Braveheart has a full build at 32 minutes. The Mountain Drake goes in favor of Hydra. If you take a look at the items on the other side, you have 3 on Birdie, which is quite good for a Zaya, but that is the most anyone has for Sphinx.
I just love watching Syndra throw that blue buff around. It's just so gigantic, it's comical seeing it just get flung around that massive heap of rock. But now, speaking of massive heaps of stone, look at the balls on Braveheart. He's just 1v2ing and he's going in.
He's going in, but he has to go out. 2 inhibitors in the mid lane and bot lane are down, so he just has to wait for the right moment. Goku looking for a flank opportunity, but Hydra, they're playing it safe. There is the engage with Asshole Bones that it will be spell shielded, though, as Chase Me, he might have ever so slightly overextended. Vanberg has to burn the cleanse already. That is a double charm. He's deleted by Michael no Joken, falling low with that Soul Shackles. Birdie Sakura picks up the kill himself. The Requiem is coming out. How many kills can Michael get? The answer is no, but Chase Me will be taken out by the attack from Frenzy. Frenzy was out. Braveheart joins the fight. He manages to kill Sakura. Goku and Bjerre, they are still alive though. The Zoe trying to nuke down with those paddle stars. 2 versus 3. Can Sphinx make it? Vanberg there gets it. He finds the stun onto Bjerre and kills him. However, Braveheart falls in the middle of it all. And Goku is in a 1 versus 2 scenario. Can he hold on for dear life? The Nexus stars are still there. Malcolm is alive. Requiem unavailable. Neither is the unleashed power. Last Caress isn't there either. If he can find the assassination, he can save the game. But Vanberg finds the stun. Can he delete Evelyn? It does not seem like so. And the 2 versus 1 scenario, it's so intense, but Vega will respawn. And Hydra are unable to finish the game right now.
That was close as hell, but that shutdown is really big, and that is 1,000 gold going towards Go Commit Jungle now, which means that he's going to be able to pick up a few extra items, maybe able to get a little bit closer now and delete even faster. And now, you know, he has the Lichbane and the Morellonomicon. That could be the case, but let's keep an eye on Baron. That's going to be coming up in just 45 seconds, and if Hydra is able to pick that up, I think that could be the game. They've been able to take every single advantage they've had so far. And sure, Braveheart finally got shut down, but that doesn't mean he is going to be any less strong. It took them so long and so many resources to take him down. He just has to play a little bit closer to his team, and it is going to be nigh unstoppable.
Watch out for Goku. Look at his flanking position. Hydra do not know he is there. Last Caress available. If he can find a crucial pickoff, that can be all that Sphinx need. Yes, you've got Braveheart in the bot lane, but if you can secure yourself a numbers advantage, then that is one potential way to come back in the game. He throws down the charm, and he will reveal his position. There is the Zonias from Vanberg, as well as the Wolf Pain to zone in. Vega tries to go in with a quickness. He does not find the charm. Now he is charming up multiple members. Goku is in that backline. Can't use Last Caress to kill anyone. Frenzy still set by Birds. Flash with Braveheart. Kills Chase Me in the base. That is burning down. Goku falls down. So double kill for Vanberg. And only 2 people are alive. Braveheart in the base. Can Bjerre stop him? He is still fighting. He cannot get out. Vanberg, can he be the hero that Hydra needs? Braveheart is on the Nexus. And there is no one to stop him. And Hydra will be looking to take down Sphinx in just a while as they are turning away. And there is the Nexus kill.
There it is! You have to deal with the Nexus, and Braveheart knew that he couldn't be 1v1, so he just went to the bottom and said, "Come at me, I am going to take out your base." And sure enough, he did. The only one there to stop him was Chase Me Please, and as time showed, he was able to just take him out with the back of his hand and take the game.
Impressive performance, I think, is the least that we have to say from Hydra, but these games, they've been so close. I dare say that's the closest to all I have ever casted, at least in the Wintersplit. Very well played. Vote for MVPs, by the way. We will take a look at that in just a second.
Well, let's sip on the tea of conversation, sweetened by the sugar of debate, and talk about who we think the MVPs are going to be. I think, if we're looking at Hydra, first of all, Braveheart.
Braveheart, yes, but what about Game 1? Is it still Braveheart? Because I feel like Hydra, it has been very much a team effort from them, but the game to Fiora honestly did blow me away.
Absolutely, and you know, if we look at the first game, it would be more Vanborg and, you know, Frenzy, but he definitely did do well in the first game. It's not that he only did well in the second game. It was, you know, he was playing that Urgot and was able to, you know, do quite a bit against Chase Me Please that game as well. Both games, he won his lane very well.
Definitely, and taking a look at Sphinx, I would... looking at the results so far, you guys really like Biera. I cannot disagree. His Zoe has been very good. In Game 1 on the Cassiopeia, he also tried to keep his team alive. Another person that I would look at, though, is Gokumit. On that Evelyn, he has been holding the Sphinx so much in that later stages of the game. He hasn't been able to find the necessary assassinations late in that last team fight, but I don't think it really does matter.
Now, Evelyn is a tricky champion to play. She isn't super in the meta because the meta is more really early game ganks. You want to gank at like level 2, level 3, and Evelyn really isn't capable of that until level 6 when she has the last caress and her stealth and everything to really be able to close the gap on people and to execute them. And, you know, because of that, so when we look at that, when we consider that, Gokumit was doing a lot because he was able to delete so many people. He was one of the only ones who managed to kill Braveheart in the second game.
Definitely, and actually what that 2-0 win means for Hydra is that they are now sitting on 8 points. It is 4th week in, so we are slowly approaching that halfway mark, and that does put them in the upper half. And I mean, that is a very good feeling if you are Hydra, because you just had a close game, yes, but a fairly dominant 2-0 anyways, I would say. And well, I am looking forward to them playing all the other teams.
It is going to be great. And if the other teams are taking a note here, if you're going up against Braveheart, make sure that Fiora is not available. Because, and also Vanborg talking in the chat saying that Fiora's solo queue goes 3-12, but in the Wintersplit goes 12-3. Maybe that's just that little bit of extra teamwork that he's got there. And it is certainly paying off because he has 100% of the MVP votes. And it looks like Biera is going to be coming out ahead, 75% of the votes for the side of Sphinx.
And I feel like, those guys were your MVPs. And is there anything else that we want to touch on tonight?
I don't think so. I think that we've covered all of our bases pretty well.
Then guys, don't forget to follow us on Twitch and YouTube, also on Twitter, and if you are new to this stream, then join the Discord. The link is down below if you want to be a part of the community. Also a shout out to our sponsor Gamers Class, which provides courses how to be a better player. And don't forget to tune in on Sunday, because there will be definitely a lot of games to look forward to then. And I have been Kachka, and I was joined by Let's See, and good night.